Wonderful and heilige Chevra, Chazda Hashem. As we come into this year, 2015, 5775, Be'ezras Hashem, we will have a journeying of wonder, of goodness, of hopefully building ourselves and engaging in life, and mamish feeling good, living good, connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and revealing the pnimi, revealing that which is inside of you, that light that's within inside of you to the world, and constantly remembering and reminding ourselves to make this world a better place. So Chazda Hashem, as we did last year, Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, this year we will have our melava malka. And as we go through our melava malka, we'll pick a topic to explore and explain. And we had our first melava malka, and we went through an idea of what thinking is. And again, the recap of how we play out these melava malkas is we take a topic, we then share what I know about the topic, what I feel about it, what my practices are. And then we try to cultivate some sort of definition and to try and include voice notes to help us remember to contemplate what we spoke about in order to hopefully change our way of being, even if it's ever so slightly. Remember, the Heilige Ropshitzer writes, a change anywhere is a change everywhere. Everything, Be'ezras Hashem, always should be heading to the Echad. As we mentioned, we spoke about the base of Bereshis and the Zoya. The beginning of the Zoya speaks about how the base has a little dot, and we want to remember the human beingness and the human doingness. We want to remember the first and second luchais. The whole Inyan is coming from Chabad to Chagat, from Chagat to Nehim, and then bring it all the way back up. That Prat and Klal become one, Be'ezras Hashem. And together we'll work together, we'll build together, and we'll try to bring Torah and our Avodah all the way down into every area of our life, and then pick it back up to the Echad, because it all is Echad. It all is Echad. Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. So we started to speak about this Inyan of thinking. What is thinking? And we quoted from the Teres Avram, Haseichel Hanoshi, how thinking is incredibly important. It's what distinguishes us between the rest of reality, between the rest of the Brias within this world. We can think, and through our thinking, we can really bring into the world everything we see around us. We've got the recorder in front of us. We've got the stender, the tables. We have each other. We're sitting on chairs. Just look around. As Rabbi Singer would say, everything is created twice. Everything is created twice, always. Especially mitzad the makabel. We always create twice. Mitzad the noisan, everything is echad. But from our side, everything is created twice. Because there's fracture, there's separation, multiplicity in our world. And on one level, that is experienced as we think something, we think about it, imagine it, and then we can bring it into the world. So thinking is so important because our world is birthed through thinking. Everything in our universe comes from our thinking. As we quoted the Oiv Yisrael, that the Heilige Noach, Mikatne Emunah, so people can view Katne Emunah as a pagam. The Oiv Yisrael says, no, Mikatne Emunah, he knew how powerful his thinking is. He knew how powerful his thinking is, that one thought, he did not want to be part of the flood process. He waited till the last minute that he knew it didn't come from him. Because if he thoughts of flood, the flood could be brought into existence. Chevra, this is a davar amak ma'od. Our thinking creates our reality. Our thinking creates our reality. Contemplate that for a moment. Allow that to soak in. Our thinking creates our reality. The Heilige Ropshitzer comes and tells us that what? That simcha is oises b'machshava. Whatever simcha means, badly translated as happiness. But as we know, that there's many different experiential definitions to simcha. 10 of them to be precise. The Nakuda is, Chevra, that our thinking impacts the way that we feel, the way that we live life. We're always relating to our thinking in the present moment. So just as an introduction, how much do we take our thinking for granted? For so many people, thinking is not really thought about, if I could use that term. It's not really thought about. And to think about all the different people in the world, we're not speaking about thinking as in IQ. We're speaking about thinking as in thinking. And this nakuda of thinking is you could take somebody, for example, a creative person. Well, were they born like that? Were they born? Not necessarily. A lot of people who become more creative, who build themselves, they contemplate, meditate, they reflect. And through that, we develop a healthier relationship with our thinking. We can choose eventually our thinking. We can ask questions. We can reflect upon questions. We can assess, we can observe and assess situations. And when we learn to think properly, or if I could change that, not learning to think properly, because I don't know if there is a thinking properly, but there's definitely a thinking smarter or thinking healthier. We become healthier, more resilient. We become more effective. We have a wider, deeper, more amplified life. We become better at solving problems. When we learn to slow down our thinking and reflect, we become more organized. We make better decisions. Our brains are active and healthy. It's easier to excavate and remove the barriers and experience clearer thinking, freeing ourselves from the things that can hold us back and allowing ourselves to move forward. We could be more relaxed. And as we said, we could for sure be more effective. And when we learn to contemplate our thinking and developing healthier thinking, more hopeful, more grateful, more resilient, just think about the different forms of thinking that we have. For example, as we said, being present, as we'll go into, an healthy thinking, or thinking for ourselves. Or what about organized thinking, or thinking together? So we read in Koheles, you put two heads together, you sometimes come up with better ideas. Remember, Rabbi Singer would say, where do good ideas come from? He would say, around the Shabbos table. Pelaploim. What about thinking creatively? Problem solving. Resilient thinking, which is to do with hope, that you face situations. If you allow the nefesh to get in the way, it can decrease resilient thinking. But when you're in a state of das and you're reflecting, you can turn every, as we say, fascination, every frustration into a fascination, every nisayon into a nisiyah be'ezras Hashem. What about critical thinking? What about making choices? Making good, healthy decisions. So there's many elements to what thinking is. But stage one, just as our introduction, let's just contemplate the breadth of thinking. And hopefully over the next few weeks, we will go into different dimensions of what being present is and what thinking is. And when we met, just to remind us, when we met, we spoke about the inyan of das, which is observing the observing self, the witness. We spoke about das as in being present. We spoke about seichel based on a Torah from the Maggid of Mezrich, that seichel asks questions. And then you've got the dimyon and machshava, which is chesed and gevura. Chesed's bechina of, as we said, dimyon, our imagination, which is visualization, our visual imagination. And then we have more critical contemplative thinking, which is bechina of gevura. And everything's working together. Everything's working together. The nakud of tiferes, which is insight. So there's a lot to unpack here. But Be'ezras Hashem, we'll speak around it. We're not going to speak about these terms. We're going to speak out just ideas for us to contemplate, to spend this month owning our thinking, becoming more aware of our thinking. And Be'ezras Hashem is Barach, with having something to think about, having that direction. We have some We have more purpose in our lives. We feel better, more wholesome, Be'ezras Hashem. We do it together. May we experience much bracha, mazel and hatzlacha, much hope, living with tremendous hope, living with gratitude and resilience. Kol tov bracha and hatzlacha once again.